The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While people were listening to Jesus speak, he proceeded to tell a parable because he was near Jerusalem, and they thought that the kingdom of God would appear there immediately. So he said, "A nobleman went off to a distant country to obtain the kingship for himself and then to return. He called 10 of his servants and gave them 10 gold coins and told them, 'Engage in trade with these until I return.' His fellow citizens, however, despised him and sent a delegation after him to announce, 'We do not want this man to be our king.' But when he returned after obtaining the kingship, he had the servants called to whom he had given the money to learn what they had gained by trading. The first came forward and said, 'So your gold coin has earned 10 additional ones.' He replied, 'Well done, good servant. You have been faithful in this very small matter. Take charge of 10 cities.' Then the second came and reported, 'Your gold coin, sir, has earned 5 more.' And to this servant too he said, 'You take charge of 5 cities.' Then the other servant came and said, 'Sir, here is your gold coin. I kept it stored away in a handkerchief. For I was afraid of you, because you are a demanding man. You take up what you did not lay down, and you harvest what you did not plant.' He said to him, 'With your own words I shall condemn you, you wicked servant. You knew I was a demanding man, taking up what I did not lay down and harvesting what I did not plant. Why did you not put my money in a bank? Then on my return I would have collected it with interest.' And to those standing by he said, 'Take the gold coin from him and give it to the servant who has 10. But they said to him, 'Sir, he has 10 gold coins.' He replied, 'I tell you, to everyone who has, more will be given. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Now as for those enemies of mine who did not want me as their king, bring them here and slay them before me.' After he had said this, he proceeded on his journey up to Jerusalem." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you.
I have to be honest, last night I was reading the readings, preparation for today's Mass, and I really wasn't quite sure where the Spirit was leading me to preach today. But then I woke up early and I was just laying there reflecting on the readings and thinking about a number of different things, and I come to realize where he's leading me. That opening song, that opening prayer, "All are welcome. Let us build a house where love can dwell and all can safely live. A place where saints and children tell how hearts learn to forgive, built of hopes and dreams and visions, rock of faith and vault of grace. Here the love of Christ shall end divisions. All are welcome, all are welcome. All are welcome in this place." What does the word Catholic mean? Catholic? Who knows? Yes. Universal. Very good. Catholic means universal. We are a universal church. That means that we've got brothers and sisters in Christ everywhere. Not just right here in this building, but everywhere, all around the world. And I was thinking about something yesterday, and it's been on my mind for quite some time actually. And that is, we take a look at the world. You see that? The United States up there off to the left. See that arrow? Where's that arrow pointing to? Who knows where that arrow is pointing to? Yes. It's where? It's over towards Thailand. And what else is right over around there? Yes. The Philippines. It's right in that same area. Thailand, the Philippines, that whole Asian area there. Why do you think I have that pointing over towards the Philippines? Yes. Yeah. Because the typhoon got hit them. And all those folks in the Philippines, they're our brothers and sisters. They're our brothers, even they're on the other side of the world, they're our brothers and sisters. And we're all welcome in the house of God. Every single one of us. You know, that typhoon that we heard about, it's devastating. It's really pretty bad, isn't that? Look at some of the pictures. Just think, those were once houses there where people were living in them, just like the houses that we live in. Totally destroyed, nothing left. Could you imagine one day living in your house and the next day everything is gone? Everything. And you're just sitting out there and you don't even have heat to keep yourself warm or air conditioning to cool you down. And just out there, there's no place to go. No place. No place to go. It's devastation everywhere. And you just look at the people sitting outside. Some of the structures are still there. And that's all they have left. Those little bags of things that they were able to kind of scrounge around and find some of their personal belongings. Then you got folks there standing in these long lines hoping to get something. Something to drink, something to eat. They can't go down to a water fountain and stand there with the button pushed and just watch the water flow, waiting for it to cool down to their liking. Not at all. It's just not there for them. You've got them holding signs, we need your help, we need your help. A lot of times when people run into problems over here in the United States, where do they go for help usually? Where would they go for help? Yes. If they don't have a home, where would they go for help? Yes.
Maybe to when they're homeless, they go to shelters.
They go to shelters, and where's another place they go for help? Where? Hospital? Where else would they go for help? They go to the Navy. Where do a lot of other people go for help? Yes. It's a common place. Where? They go to church. They go to church. People come to our church all the time, but you know what, over in the Philippines? It's kind of difficult right now because not only were their houses destroyed, so were their churches. So were their churches. The churches that they would go to for help, they also were destroyed. They lost so much. You know, we can sit here and celebrate Mass in the beautiful church. There's the priests sitting there and no roof left, water everywhere. Devastation everywhere. This little boy is holding that sign, help us, we need food. We need food. We need food. Oftentimes we're served food, we don't like it. What do we do with it? Toss it aside. We don't like it. I'm going to eat something else. They need food. They would take anything. I'm thinking, how do we help them? How do we help them? There's many ways. I was thinking back, just listening to these readings of today. Hear, O Lord, a just suit, attend to my outcry, hearken to my prayer. Got people praying, Lord, help me, Lord, help me. You know, we're a universal church, a Catholic church. I was thinking back about my grandmother, and I still can have this image in my mind. My grandmother had a box. It was more like a shoe box. And in her shoe box, she had envelopes. In her shoe box. This box with all those envelopes is where her money went. She would get money from her check. And when my grandfather had died, she got this Social Security check. And let's say she received $100. She got a little bit more than that, but to help you understand, let's say she received $100. I got $100 here, 10 tens, $100. She would take money. I could still see her sitting there on the couch. It's very vivid in my mind. She would take her money, and her first envelope that was there said the church. That was her first envelope, the very first. And do you know what she would do with this $100? How much do you think she put in that envelope for the church? How much do you think? Yes. No, because we don't have to give it all. God does not ask us to give everything. How much do you think she put in there? $10. She would take $10. 10%, her first $10, and it went into the envelope for the church. The first 10. She didn't stop and say, okay, let me figure this out. How much do I need for everything else? She took her first $10, put in the church, in the envelope. Now she says, I have $90 left. $10 gone, that's for the church. Do you know what her second envelope was? Now some people might think, well, why would she do this? Her second envelope said charity and the poor. Some people would say, well, no, I'll give that to the church and let the church handle it. No. She gave her first 10% to the church. That's the church to take care of the needs of the church. And think about this. Ever stop to think, who pays for our lights? Who pays for our air conditioning? Who pays to fix things? Who pays for my salary? All those things. Who pays to feed me? That $10 goes to pay for the church staff, to keep this building up, to take care of everything that we need to do here because we've got no other income. I don't go out to work someplace else so that I can make sure that our lights are turned on. We have to depend on the people who are members of the church to provide. So her next envelope was charity and the poor. And I'm not sure how much she put in that one, but I do know that she always put her first 10% in that other. Then she had envelopes marked for her food. She had them for her medical bills. And I said to her one day, says, well, you don't have any medical bills right now. And she said, well, one day I will. So I have to save for them. She would have one for her utilities. That's for her lights and those types of things, her gas in the house. She had one marked for her car because she needed money for her gas. She needed new tires. She knew she would need new tires. She knew that she had to get oil changes and things like that. She had one that was marked for her personal things that she would buy for herself. Going to have her hair done or whatever she would do, her clothing. Then she had other envelopes there for whatever she might feel she needs. But the first 10% always went to the church and also money for the poor. I was thinking about this. How can I help you really understand this more and more, how the Lord is asking us to take care of our needs? I'm going to take the $10 for the church, and I'm going to give it to members of our church. That means if I take $10 for our church and give it to members of our church so that they can now do with it as they please, that means that's 10 $1 bills. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Who is the tallest 8th grader? Come on up here. Tallest 8th grader. We don't have any tall 8th graders? Okay, come on up here. Bring with you a 7th grader. Grab one of the 7th graders with you. Any 7th grader you want. Oh, you're deciding on your own. Okay. Go and get me a 6th grader. Any 6th grader you want. Can you bring up the 6th grader, bring up a 5th grader with you? The 5th grader, grab a 4th grader. Don't grab them, just ask them to come up. 4th grader, get yourself a 3rd grader. Now, what do you think I'm going to ask you to do? Get a 2nd grader. And can you bring a 1st grader with you? Go get a 1st grader. She's only thinking about, go get a 1st grader. Decisions. Can you bring a kindergarten student with you? He's got him. You're switching. Now we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we need a teacher. Which teacher should we get?
Miss Maria's.
Miss Berenger? Miss Berenger? Okay. All right. I'm going to give, she needs it. I'm going to give each of you $1. But you know what I did? It spoke about the coins, the gold coins in the gospel reading. I have some silver coins. There's a bag for you, and there's a bag for you. These are 10 dimes. Bag for you. There's a 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 bag for you. But you know what? We have somebody new with us in our parish. Who's the newest person in our parish that we have? Yes.
Music director.
The music from Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts, come on up over here. Our newest member. You guys have been around for a while, haven't you? How many years have you been teaching, you know?
This is ninth.
Ninth year. Yeah, about because you came here more or less when I came. 1 year less than me, right. Oh, I have no bags left. I'm in trouble. I called him up, but I've got nothing to give him, do I? But isn't he part of us? Now he's here with, what can we, I've got no more dimes left. What should I do? What should we do? What do you think we should do? Any idea? Yes. What's that? Give him a, what? He wants me to take my regular dollars and give to him. Smart kid. We banker and investment agents. But it's just all of you now. I gave all mine away. What do you think we could do? Yes.
Split the money.
How would you split it? What's the best way to split it, you think? You want to give 5 of yours to him? 5? Do all of you want to give 5 to him? But does God ask us to give 5 away to one person? What's the Bible ask us to do? How much does the Bible say give to? 10%. What's 10% of 10? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's $1. You have 10 dimes. What's 10%? 1 dime. Why don't all of you give Mr. Roberts 1 dime? Yeah, he's not going to write. So we have 10 of you who took just 1 of your dimes, and you still have 9 dimes, don't you? And you still have 9 dimes to do something with. God says just give 10%, just 10%. But you know what's interesting about this? Mr. Roberts came here with nothing. But all of you were generous and gave him just 10%, just 1 dime. All of you have 9 dimes now, right? Each of you have 9 dimes. How many does Mr. Roberts have? 10. The scriptures say the last shall be first. When God blesses, see, all of you are chosen randomly. You just happen to be the tallest one. And you came forward, and then you kind of start picking each other. But when we take what's been given to us, you still have more than the rest of these folks. They have nothing. You were randomly chosen, and you were randomly blessed. You have 9, but that's still more than what they have. Mr. Roberts has 10, and what do you think Mr. Roberts should now do? Go spend it. But there might be somebody else who has nothing, and he'll, in return, give 1 to somebody else. That's what it means when we start to give. That's how we can help these folks up here, our brothers and sisters. If each of us just gave 10%, 10%, nothing more. Let's give them a hand for helping us out. You can keep those, by the way. You can go back to your seats. You can keep yours too. Don't spend it all in one place. That's yeah. And so I've come to realize that we call that stewardship. When God gives to us, we're called to give in return. We just happen to be blessed to be living here where we live and not in the Philippines right now. Oh, we have some bad storms, but This is the worst storm that's ever hit anywhere. We're going to be asking all of you to begin to make sacrifices. Every Wednesday, we're going to ask you to make the sacrifice to the Lord. So to take your 10% that you get during the week, take 10% of what you get during the week and give it to the poor. Give it to the church to help out. We're going to get you little envelopes that you can put in our Wednesday Mass. We'll be passing a basket around so that you can begin to help. And then I'm going to ask the student council to be the ones to decide with our assistance as to who the money's going to go to. It's not going to go to us here at St. Anthony, but it's going to go to people that you come to aware of who are poor and in need. It's just a little bit. And trust me, when you give, God's going to bless you abundantly. Take the Mass, during the Mass. We're going to give bread and wine to Jesus right now, to God. We're going to offer him bread and wine. Simple bread. What's he going to give it back to us as? What's it going to be? Yes. It'll be, what's it actually going to be when he gives it back to us? We're giving him bread and wine. What's going to come back as? Body and blood. He takes it and he makes it something greater. When we give to God, he always gives back in great abundance. So let us be open to be the stewards of all that God gives to us. You might want to go home and get yourself a little box and take your allowance and start to divide your allowance up. What's it going to be used for? If your parents give you an allowance and you keep it all to yourself, you're not living the way Jesus calls us to live.